Alrighty, this video is a tutorial on how to create your brand kit in Canva. So real talk, if you are hunting for your brand colors every single time you open Canva, we need to fix that right now. Today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your brand kit in Canva, and honestly this one feature is going to save you a lot of time, especially if you create graphics in Canva or new offers on a regular basis. So here's what we're covering. We're going to go over what a brand kit is, why you need one, and how to set it up so you can rebrand any template with literally one click. Let's get into it. So first, what is a brand kit? So when you're in Canva, if you're home in your dashboard, right, you'll usually come across all of your designs. You can also switch the tab into template, right? So maybe you find a template and you've got a new class you would like to launch. You go in here and you search class flyer and you come across a buttload of flyers. Now, when you open any of these up, you realize they don't really look like you, right? So your brand kit basically in one click takes whatever template or design that you find and makes it branded to you. It's an incredible tool, and I think it's underutilized, honestly. Think of it as like a digital toolbox. Instead of searching for files or trying to remember your hex codes for your colors, you just open your brand kit and boom, everything is right there. You get one-click access whenever you're designing, and that is honestly super helpful. No longer need to waste time searching for things or re-downloading your logo files. Everything you create looks consistent. So the real reason to do this is speed. Once you set this up, you can customize templates in minutes instead of hours, and you're not recreating everything from scratch every time. Okay, so what goes in a brand kit? Let me show you the interface because it's changed a little bit. And when you create a brand kit, you'll see all of these sections right here. So we've got logos and colors, fonts. You can even add your voice, photos, graphics, icons, charts, and then pretty much anything else that you'd like to load up. Usually videos are nice if you have them. The other thing they added is you can add brand guidelines, which I have actually not played with. I'll probably make another video on that and see if it's helpful because Canva AI has gotten really, really great. So for the sake of this video, we're only going to focus on logos, colors, and fonts because likely this is where you're going to start. So there's two scenarios. When you get logos, you're either making them yourself or you're working with a designer, either me or someone that you hire on Fiverr or whatever, your niece or whatever. Someone designs something for you and they send you a logo, right? Here's what you want for logos. You want PNG files with a transparent background, okay? So if I was going to open up logo file pack, typically this is what I would send. This is pretty comprehensive. So we've got vector versions, which are scalable and can only be opened in certain programs. We've also got SVGs, which are very useful for website building. And I believe that you can upload SVGs to Canva, but today we're going to be focusing on PNG files. PNG files are portable network graphics, and the reason why we're going to be focusing on those is because they have a transparent background. So if I were to open up any one of your PNG files, right? So if I come into, oh, these are all JPEGs. Sorry, if we go to this 1000 pics version, we have PNGs. So if I pick any one of these and I open it up, bring it over here, you'll see that if I scale in, it's relatively clear, right? 1000 pixels is pretty big, especially at 300 pixels per inch, which is standard for print. You don't need to know all of that, but just know that these would be fine to use on pretty much any graphic, probably not a large sign, although you would want to use a scalable or vector version for that. So for the sake of your brand kit, you want to access all of your PNG files, okay? Now your branding may or may not have all of these colors and all of these different marks, but for the sake of this video, we're probably going to add all of the brand assets here just so you have them. We want to aim for at least 500 by 500 pics minimum. And if we have 1000 pics, go with that. It's even better. If you have multiple versions, if you've got multiple colors, different layouts, different they're called lockups, right? So text and image together, you can upload every single one. So in order to do this, I'm going to come back into my brand kit. I'm going to add brand assets, and then I'm going to upload here. From here, I'm actually going to go back into my logo file pack, and I'm going to hit this 1000 pics PNGs. If you notice, the file extension here is .png. We like that. We're going to stick to that. So all of these PNGs are going to live in your brand kit. So I'm actually going to select all of them at a time if you need to. I'm going to open them, and they're going to load up. Super straightforward. Okay. As those load up, I'm just going to wait a little bit and make sure I've got them all in here. Oh, it looks like Canva added this too. New suggested palette from uploaded asset. I don't know, maybe we'll go with it. So before we get into colors, I'm going to go through scenario B, which is maybe you created a logo out of your designs in Canva. You came up with something really lovely, and it's in your Canva. Now, Canva doesn't give you the option yet to upload or connect your Canva designs directly to your brand kit. You actually have to save them, and save them in the right file type, and then upload them here. I'm not entirely sure why they do that. However, I can teach you how to save them first, and then we'll do the same thing. You essentially just repeat. All right, so one extra step, but we're going to go ahead and create a new design. And actually, let's go from a brand board that I have created for you, right? So if we go home and we open up a brand board that we have, or maybe you've got a website transferred over to you and you have a number of graphics in here, but you don't have them in your computer yet. So wherever your logo is living or your graphic is living in your design files, we want to go ahead and bring it from here, and we can just copy and paste it into a new Canva doc. The way to do that is to go ahead and keep this brand board open, and then I'm going to go back to Canva Home, and I'm going to create a custom size over here, and I'm actually going to set this to be 1000 by 1000. I'm going to create a new design there. Great. And now you see we've got a blank artboard. Now go back to wherever your logos live. You're going to select one, right? So let's do this guy. I'm going to copy it, Command C, and then Command V. And we can center it by choosing the crosshairs. Make it bigger. Perfect. Now we've got our graphic or our logo centered in the middle. You are also welcome to build it out, right? Using any one of Canva's elements or text. Now, in order to save this appropriately, I'm going to need to name it. So I want to make sure that I have the right file naming and everything stays consistent. So if I were going to name this one, I would name it Stacked Text Medium Teal 1000 pics maybe. So I always start with brand name, identifier, color, size or program or date. It kind of depends on your thing, right? Just be consistent with it. It doesn't really matter what you do as long as you can find things. Now we're going to hit share. And we're going to download this. We're going to download this as a PNG. And then I do want a transparent background. Okay. Hit download. And it's going to show up in my downloads folder. Now we're just going to leave it right here for now. But just know that you can find it in your downloads or pull it into the appropriate folder. Now back home, I'm going to X out of this create a design. I'm going to go over to brand kit over here on the left. I select this and I select logos, I'm going to go ahead and add to category, upload brand asset, and I'm actually going to go into downloads here and I'm going to open and basically the same thing. So you just want to make sure you have that downloaded from Canva in order to pull it in. So I'm going to delete. Okay. Now, trust me, having your logos properly formatted and in your brand kit is very important. Now, next thing we're going to do is add a color palette. And look at this. Dude, Canva is outrageous. Okay, this didn't used to happen, but once you upload your logos, apparently it knows your color palette already. So we're just going to keep every color that we've got. The other way to do this is coming to your brand board and copying and pasting your hex code. So how you would do that is by double clicking these 6 letters right here, letters and numbers. So that code is called a hexadecimal code. And we're going to copy and paste it in here. Okay, if I were going to add, I might add a custom palette here. And then from this custom palette, oh look, they went into separate. Okay, so it didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, which is okay. So we're actually going to delete these, and I'm just going to add a custom palette manually. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete. So not super important. If you had a multicolor logo, that would be really, really helpful, right? And it would just make one palette with all the colors. Now what it did is it took the one color from the design, since that's how my designs were created, and it pulled that color, and quite accurately, actually, which is lovely. So all of these other colors, we're just going to remove them. So I'm going to go one by one. It's going to do it a bajillion times, right? And we can actually get to the last one. Perfect. Okay, so from this color palette, we're going to start from the beginning. So I've got color here. We're going to name it, right? Whatever the identifier is in your color palette. Now, this is good if you want to add a tint or a hue, right? So something that's lighter or darker than your actual palette in order to make lots of different types of designs. For the sake of this short video, I'm just going to go ahead and do each one manually. Let's get rid of that one so I stop going in there. All right, the next one is going to be here, and we're just going to say light teal. And then this guy is our medium teal. Nice. Okay. And then the next one is our dark teal. And then the next one is going to be that rust color. Or terracotta, whatever you want to name it. Okay, so you're just going to repeat this as many times. Now, we're going to name this main color palette. Now, maybe it's suggested. Oh. Not going to show them to me. It's still kind of catching up. Okay, so this main color palette may be for your main branding. You can also add a new color palette here and add to category. If you added a palette for, like, say, a class that you were doing that centered around this kind of rust color that had more colors, you can add it in here and just make your job way, way, way easier. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty simple. Now, fonts. We are going to navigate to this font section here. We're going to pick a headline font and a body font, and that's it. So we're going to stick to very, very simple. We'll hit choose font for title, right? And maybe for our title, I believe we're using Agrandier? Yeah, Agrandier Grand. And there's a couple of options. Whichever one that you choose is going to be the one. So you can name it whatever you want. I don't know why you would need to name it something else. Whatever works for your brand, right? And then same thing for a body font. So maybe the body font that you really like is Open Sans. Open Sans is usually pretty good. We like that one. Great. You can change the size. You can make it bold. All of that. And perhaps the subtitle is Helen. Great. Boom. Now you've got your 3 fonts in there, and every time you edit a design, it'll go ahead and pull these fonts, which is honestly, this is the GOAT. This is where the money is, because truly picking fonts is probably half of my life. But don't overthink it. You can change it later. This is just basically to make your life easier for now. So this is where you'll actually use it. Obviously, you're in your brand kit, right? And maybe when we come into our brand kit, we can also name it. So we can edit the details here, and we're going to say Ananda Matri brand kit. And you can throw in an icon here. The colors will be for use on the banner. So if we wanted to do that, we might upload a icon here. We'll go into Ananda Matri's logo files, and let's just choose, let's say we like this guy. Let's do Bloom as a PNG. All right. I don't personally care about the banner color. It doesn't really matter, but let's save those changes and see what happens. It just added the logo to the brand title. Doesn't matter to me. Canva is really extra. So, okay, let's find a template that we like and then see if we can't use this, right? So if I go to templates and maybe I'm creating a yoga class and I want a flyer. Pretty basic. We want to customize it, okay? We love something simple. We love something elegant. We love, just making things easy to read. So this one's pretty okay. If I wanted to create a class flyer based on that one, it's pretty good. I would hit customize this template. The template's going to open. Now, there may be some finagling and adjusting that we need to do here, but the number one thing that we want to do is change our branding, right? So if you come over here and click that brand kit, right? This is going to open up everything that we just saved. So let's X out of that. We love to get celebrated by Canva. Okay, so if I wanted to change and use this brand kit and change literally everything, first, I would change the color palette, and you can actually shuffle through them. So that's actually pretty nice. And then I might continue through the colors and find one that I really, really like. That's beautiful. If you had custom icons or elements, illustrations, you can also change them out here. Now for fonts, when we click fonts, the title and subtitle here in fonts, it's going to actually add a new font. So if I'm going to delete that. Oh, no, delete that. Okay. If I click into the font here, I'm going to close this drawer, click the font, select the font up at the top toolbar, and then if you scroll down, you'll see Ananda Matri brand kit. What I'm going to do is actually select one of my fonts, right? And that changes there. Now, since that's the only version of that font in this design, you won't see this option. But if I were to change another font, like this headline font here, I want to change it to a grandier. And I'm going to lower the size, and I'm going to make it left justified, right? If I do that, if you come down to this bottom little where the arrow is here, you'll see that you've got one font to change into another font. If I hit this change all button, boom, automatically changes every single font on the page. Now, I do still have to go through and edit this slightly, but I'm actually going to go in, maybe I'll change that to Open Sans, and then I will change this to Open Sans and bring the font down just a little bit. Open Sans, bring the font down just a little bit. And it's pretty okay. I might do some more finagling, but that design is actually pretty good. So I want to change this size a little bit, left justify it, and then I can bring it over. So in general, so usually with Helaman too, I find that the lowercase is better. So I'm going to change that. Perfect. Okay. So in this design, as you can see, something that would have taken a lot longer, like if I wanted to click the background and change it manually, you can see your brand kit shows up here. So I can actually change and filter through these colors pretty easily, right? So the payoff in this is pretty amazing, right? So if I wanted to do the same thing for, say, a business card, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay. So I really loved this guy. And it's clean, it's basic, but obviously it's not my brand colors. I'm going to customize the template, and I'm just going to repeat that process, right? So if I were going to come over here to brand kit and shuffle through, I can see that it's actually going to shuffle all the colors, right? I click into the font and I scroll down to brand kit. I'm going to change that Agrandir Grand, and we're going to change all. And then this next one, we're going to change to Open Sans. And then everything else we might keep Montserrat, maybe. I don't know. Or let's change them all, just for grins and giggles. And you'll see with business cards where things fall off the edge. Okay. And then if I wanted to add a logo to this, I might select this guy, and I'm not going to delete it just yet. I want to keep it where it is. I'm going to lock it in position because I actually really like the size of it compared to the rest of the card. And I want to go ahead and leave it there. So I'm going to lock it. Now, if I hit this brand kit and I see all logos in here, I have my pick. You know, there's, I don't know how many logos are in here, but a ton to choose from. Maybe 20, 30 logos to choose from. Now, if I really liked this icon, and I wanted to replace that icon and keep the same size, center it, send it backwards, unlock that icon, and delete it. Okay, so now we have a beautiful branded business card. Obviously, you're going to want to change your information on the card. You might also want to make sure that the text shows up, so maybe making it bold if that's a part of your branding as well. Now this last one, we'll have to do the same thing. So come over to brand kit, and I'm actually going to select colors, and I'm going to shuffle through them. And whichever one matches or shows up really nicely, we're going to do that. So I'm actually going to delete all of these, and we're going to keep the front of this card pretty simple. So I'm going to go to branding, or brand kit rather, and then I'm going to select a logo. Let's do the arched logo that we like in cream, and make it bigger, center it, right? Bam. Now you have a beautiful branded business card that you can easily edit the text, customize it, print it out. The other nice thing about business cards in Canva is you can choose between, you can round the edges, yeah. Now again, I want to make sure I make a habit of naming all of my files. So when I'm up here in the files, I might say Ananda Matri, business card, rust and cream. Maybe I might put the to edit or something in there, but you don't really need to. So if I were to save this, we'll repeat the process in here. If you want to print it with a different print provider, you would download and then re-upload to whatever print provider. You can also print this directly with Canva. So if I hit this print button, and you can choose your paper, you can choose your finish, you can choose your corners, and then figure out how many you want. Really simple. It looks like you've got a coupon code there too, so you get free delivery and everything. So highly recommend. Canva print's actually pretty decent. No complaints there. And you can test out. These mock-ups are a really nice way to see how things will print. So with all that in mind, now you know how to create your brand kit in Canva and play around with that. I highly recommend adding a brand voice to Canva too, because Canva AI is really awesome and it will follow these guidelines. So if your voice is sarcastic and a little spicy, you want to make sure it's writing in your voice. If it's friendly, conversational, you just add that in there and prompt it, and it'll follow those instructions. Super helpful. Other assets are really nice. If you have a bunch of pictures of yourself or a brand photo shoot you want to add in there and throw on. Websites or proposals, really nice thing to do. And then other brand assets too, like graphics and icons and charts. So All of that said, you know how to upload all your logos, change your colors, change your fonts, set your fonts. You can change pretty much anything in here, make as many brand kits as you want. So it's one of those things that appears to be a lot of work for some people, but I promise if you design anything for your business, this will actually save you a ton of time. So stop this video, go set it up, and then come back and tell me how much time you saved. Make a couple flyers, and I'll see you in the next video.